Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's third and final video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next 10 to 14 days for today's final video. Day 10 is going to take us to around the 29th of October, and we'll be able to extend that beyond that. We extend GFS and ECM ensembles over around a couple of weeks. Have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for the next 4 weeks, which gets us well in towards the middle part of November. Can you believe it? And I should get time with that for you very short. Just say that the first video released today was our 7 AM broadcast. We've also released the EC 30-day slash 6 weeks okay for UK and for the rest of Europe as well. So check out those two if you'd like to do that. Remember, the 7th winter 2021-2022 update in 2 parts has been released so far. Yeah, we're up to the halfway point. Actually, beyond the halfway point now. Update number 7 marks the halfway point. So as we have just released both parts of update number 7, that does get us beyond the halfway point. A 90-minute epic, really, for 2 parts. So very, 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 extended video. 2 videos, but they are to be combined, really, and thought of as like the same video, to be honest, the same update anyway. So yeah, incredible work. Thank you so much to all of you watching. Thank you so much to everybody who helped bring the video together, to Terry, to Shrine, to Sav, to Rich. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all of my all my friends who helped on that 7th update. And now we roll on to update number 8, and that will be released this coming Sunday and Monday, of course. So if you have not yet seen the 7th Winter 2021-2022 update in 2 parts, then please check it out. Right, okay, let's crack on then. So we're going to turn off webcam and have a look at latest observations, temperature observations from XC Weather. Here we go then. So look at this, 20 degrees flashing away widely across the southeast of the country. Several stations there with 20 degrees flash away. Norwich, 20 degrees. Then at Heathrow, 20 degrees. We've also got Cambridge, 20 degrees. These are remarkable temperatures for the 19th of October. Southend is at 20 degrees. There is potential for that to go a little bit higher, so I would not rule out somewhere going to 21 in the next hour or so. That is 70 Fahrenheit on the 19th of October. Pretty remarkable temperatures, to be honest. It's very mild elsewhere as well. Not quite as warm as it is in the South East, but even so, Little Rissington at 16 degrees. East Midlands Airport at 18 degrees. Scampton, Lincolnshire at 18 degrees, I should say. Into Wales, Shawbury at 19 degrees. Wow, incredible. Cabell Curry at 15. Real at 18. Down South West England, 16 degrees. At Northwick, Cardinham at 15. That's a little bit close to average. I mean, it does get a bit cooler further north. So Carlisle is at 15. We've got Strathallan at 15 degrees. We've got Aberdeen at 15. And we've got Outnahar at 13. Down into Belfast, got 16 degrees there. So the warmest weather clearly is in the southeast corner. But all areas are mild today, even in the north, where it's closer to average, but it's still a bit above average in the north. And down in the south, really, really warm, especially so in the far southeastern corner. So one of those days that's exceptionally mild autumn day. Not all that unusual for this time of the year. We do tend to get a push of warmth around sort of 18th, 19th, 20th of October. It's St. Martin's summer. It's one of the classic singularities of the weather. So it's not that unusual to get a push of warmth around this time of year. But this is quite, quite an exceptional push to get into the 20s. So central temperature is currently looking like this. We're currently standing at 12.7. That's an anomaly of 1.3 degrees above average. That's provisional to yesterday, to the 18th of October. That's going to go up, of course, with today's temperatures. It might tick up to 13. Actually, I would not be surprised. We're looking at this tomorrow if it's around 13. Might just be shy of about 12.9, but we'll see. Beyond that, it will start to fall away again, though, so drop back into 12s as we go into the second half of the week, even if it does pop up to 13 when it updates tomorrow. At the end of the month, we're expecting it to come out somewhere quite close to 11.7, I think. These are the GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles for the next couple of weeks. We're going to Form B today in Merseyside. So this is a suggested location. If you'd like to have your local town or city feature within this part of the video, then please let me know through the comments. So you can email at GavsWeatherVids@gmail.com, and we're happy to feature your local town or city in this section of the video. So look how mild it is right now at Form B. That's a representative of the rest of the country as well. Of course, exceptionally mild at above 10 degrees at 850 HPA, way above the red line, the 30-year temperature average. But by the end of the week, we're down here. Bit of a temperature plummet coming along. In fact, it looks like temperature, upper air temperature is going to drop by around 15 degrees, over 15 degrees, from like plus 10 or above plus 10 at 850 HPA down to around minus 5 at 850 HPA by the end of the week. So that is a bit of a temperature crash, actually, that is coming in. It will be a little bit of a shock to the system, I think, by the time we get to Thursday and Friday. You really will notice the drop in the temperature. We don't keep it particularly cold all that long, just a couple of days cold snap, and then into the weekend temperatures start to lift up, actually going a little bit above average again by the time we get through to the start of next week. They're looking a little bit zonal, so warmer there, cooler there, warmer there. That all looks rather unsettled and zonal. As going to the closing days of October and the start of November, we're very close to average, but there is probably like a little bit of zonality going on there. So I would suspect, a little bit closer to the time frame, the ensembles will start picking out like cooler and warmer sectors and whatnot, with the areas of low pressure. So you probably get it warmer there and cooler and so on. Precipitation wise, we're going to be seeing plenty of precipitation as well. So the next few days going to be really quite wet. There is a little bit of a drier interlude here at the end of the week as we get this little cold snap. Doesn't last more than a couple of days, and then we're back into unsettled weather again. It looks like a little bit of a deluge, actually, through the rest of October and into the start of November. Bear in mind, it's next to the Irish Sea, so it is going to be exposed to rain-bearing weather systems from the Atlantic, but it's pretty representative, I think, of the unsettled weather that is to come. Temperature anomalies on the 19th to 27th of October are going to be above average. Precipitation anomalies from the 19th to 27th of October varying from area to area. Some areas actually a little bit drier than average, maybe surprisingly. Looking at that graph there, you will think that's going to be quite wet, wouldn't you? But the precipitation anomalies look wetter than average for the south and southwest. They look a little bit drier than average through parts of eastern Wales and eastern Scotland, northeastern England, and then a little bit wetter than average again across northern and western Scotland. Island also coming out a little bit drier than normal. So it's not going to be particularly wet, actually, despite that graph looking like a bit of a deluge. Actually, the precipitation anomaly doesn't look overly wet, does it really? Quite surprising. Right, latest info back from earthnullschool.net shows that we're drawing up a long fetch southwesterly today. So the air is originating from the Azores, or maybe even further south of that. So there's that long fetch southwesterly pumping up all of that warmth. It is all associated with low pressure. We've got lots of low pressure in the Atlantic, bringing quite a lot of rain. If we drag this down and have a look here, let's just very quickly put on the particulates. So because we're dragging the air up from so far south, it does look as though we might be bringing up a little bit of dust, actually, with the southwesterlies from the La Palma volcano. So, of course, these were Canary Islands down here. Where's my highlighter? Let me see the Canary Islands down here. You can see, like, the main mass of ash and whatnot from the La Palma volcano is just there. We've got all of that red with the particulates. But you can see, but we're probably pulling up some of that ash and whatnot into the northwest of Europe on those southwesterly winds. It looks like we could be, doesn't it? So, yeah, you might see some interesting sunsets and sunrises if there is a little bit of ash in the air over the next few days being brought up with the southwest. Of course, the sky's got to be clear for that, and there is going to be a lot of cloud as well with the southwesterlies. But yeah, it looks like we might be tapping into a little bit of that sort of ash and stuff from the Canary Islands with this extremely long fetch southwesterly. If we change this back over to air, there we go, we can see that, I mean, the southwesterly is coming from a very, very long way south, isn't it? So there's the Azores for example, and the areas originating from that sort of area, really. So actually a little bit south of the Azores, I think. So that explains why it is so exceptionally warm today. Now, it's all changed by the end of the week, of course, into much colder winds. So this is how UK Met is looking for Friday. Low pressure, deep low pressure over Scandinavia will bring a blast of wintry weather to them. For us, we're into this cold, or much cooler anyway, colder north-northwesterly wind. The high pressure reaching in off the Atlantic, so it will actually start to dry out a little bit. Let's put the webcam back on. It will actually start to dry out as we go through to the end of the week, but will be quite chilly. Into the weekend, that ridge is still there at the start of the weekend, but very quick gets pushed away to Eastern Europe as low pressure moves in off the Atlantic. That will start to bring wet windy weather back in later on in the weekend. Into the early part of next week, we just look really unsettled, really, into the early part of next week with further low pressure. Although high pressure is always trying to ridge in to the southwest, so maybe some dry weather at times down in the south, but wettest weather probably going to be in west and in the northwest. That takes us to midnight on Tuesday next week, 26th of October. We're looking pretty unsettled there, it must be said. This is how the GFS is looking in terms of the midnight run. So again, we've got this ridge building in from off the Atlantic on Friday. We're in quite a cool air mass. We'll deliver some frost, particularly to the north. The ridge lasts into the start of the weekend, then it's quickly pushed away into Eastern Europe as further wind and rain moves in from off the Atlantic Ocean. Into the early part of next week, high pressure just ridging to the south and southwest a little bit. More unsettled though further north. Middle of next week looks relatively dry in the south, actually. 1,020 to 1,025 millibars with the isobars. Even in the north may be turning a little bit drier through the through the middle part of next week. That's Thursday next week, looking mainly dry actually down in the south with this ridge of high pressure. It is a bit more unsettled in the north, but I suppose this does it because those anomaly maps just here from doxmaps.org. They are based on the midnight GFS operational run. So I suppose that explains why the anomaly map actually looks relatively dry, you know, for the next 7 days. It's because into next week, this area of high pressure just starts to build up from the south-southwest, and particularly for England and Wales, starts to turn things quite a lot drier. At day 10, we look like that, so still mainly dry down in the south, back into mostly dry conditions there. More unsettled further north with spells of rain for northern and western parts of Scotland. Into more extended range, it turns much more unsettled right at the very end of October. This is Halloween, 31st, low pressure beginning to dig in from the north and west, bringing wetter weather back and turning colder as well. So again, just showing up in the extended GFS, chance of a little bit of a cold snap sometime around Halloween to the 1st of November. Winds turning into the north there, bringing a shot of cold air in from the north around the turn of the month. Then a ridge builds through the country, which is a cold ridge. That might deliver some night frost before low pressure is coming back in from off the Atlantic yet again. So that one again is turning increasingly unsettled. Now I don't think I've got the 6Z up, so I'm just going to pause the video there and get the 6Z up for you, and then we'll have a look at that, and then we'll have a look at the rest of the model data. Okay, there we go. I did have a 6Z up after all. I didn't think I did. But there we go. Here's the GFS 6Z then. And low pressure is over Scandinavia, bringing cold air. Southwards across Scandinavia, a blast of winter this week across northern parts of Scandinavia in particular. We're under this little ridge here, moving in from off the Atlantic. Mainly dry, but quite a lot cooler at the end of the week. The ridge gets flattened off into weekend as low pressure just starts mooching in from off the Atlantic, and as we go through into the early part of next week again, looking unsettled in the north, wet and windy of Scotland, mainly dry both England and Wales under this ridge building up from the southwest. Very mild potentially again through the middle part of next week as well. This is another long fetch southwesterly that we're pumping in. So yeah, a lot of dry weather down in the south actually. On the GFS output today for next week. Always more unsettled in the north. That's how we look at get day 10. Again, high pressure is dominating across western and some parts of Europe. Low pressure is way across Greenland and Iceland. And again, up comes those very mild or even quite warm southwesterly winds. In the more extended range, again, the GFS 6M turning things more unsettled, moving this big area of low pressure from off the Atlantic. No Halloween cold snap, you'll notice. And as we get to the end of the GFS run, which day gets us to Thursday, the 4th of November, we look very unsettled again with low pressure in off the Atlantic, bringing spells of rain And, you know, pretty mild air from the south-southwest as well. That's the other thing. No sign of any cold weather whatsoever on the GFS 6Z until the very, you know, before the very end of it. Right, GM, looks like this. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button. Make sure you sub to the channel. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And drop a comment and let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. Thank you so much. Right, GM, low pressure in over Scandinavia, putting in quite a cold northwesterly wind on Friday. A ridge building into the UK and Ireland, settling things down for a little while at the end of the week into the weekend. But quite quickly, that ridge sort of moves over to Eastern Europe. Low pressure in off the Atlantic, bring more wet and windy weather back. And as we go to next week, GM looks quite unsettled with low pressure, particularly affecting northern and western areas. It is a little bit drier from this ridge of high pressure over France, down in the south and southeast. As we get to day 10, that's how looking very mild. Southwesterly winds bringing, you know, quite warm temperatures into the south. And wettest in the north and west, driest in the south and in the southeast. And then we go through to ECM. Again, on Friday, we've got this ridge building in from off the Atlantic, mainly dry at the end of the week, but cooler. And then into the weekend, the high pressure gets swept away. Low pressure coming in off the Atlantic. Into next week, it looks quite unsettled. So deep low pressure around Iceland. That brings lots of wet weather, particularly over the foot to the northwest. Could be a little bit drier down in the south. We are bringing up a very mild southwesterly air mass, though. By day 10, we're probably bringing a cold front southeastwards with outbreaks of rain and introducing a colder northwest wind. I think out of all of the model data, the ECM is probably the most unsettled for next week. This is rainfall forecast based on that ECM run from Tibetcho.com, so I have quite a lot of rain to come over the next few days. Everything's dry out at the end of the week and turn a little bit colder. Yes, there could be some wintry showers. Look over Scotland, and a few wintry showers running down the North Sea coast as well. Into the weekend, again, a lot of dry weather to begin with, and then low pressure heads in from off the Atlantic. That brings some more rain with it across the country into the weekend. But early next week, it's a case of showers in the west, mainly dry across most southern and eastern areas, before things perhaps get a little bit wetter again towards days 8, 9 and 10. That looks quite wet for England and Wales by midnight on the 29th of October, day 10. Right, let's turn off the webcam and we'll have a look at the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today. For day 10, these are them. This gets us to the 29th of October. Have 15 members of the ECM ensembles with lots of low pressure to our east and northeast. So you're going to be very unsettled, of course, with that. Quite wet and pretty cool too. 11 have low pressure to our north and northeast. High pressure is over France. And winds remain in from a westerly direction. A little bit drier for the south with that. 10 have low pressure again to our north. A little bit of high pressure trying to build to our south. But really, those 10 are very unsettled too. That does include the operational run. We've got 9 just here with deep low pressure right over top of the country. That's going to be a bit of a cold and wet scenario. And this also in combination with a mid-Atlantic ridge going towards Greenland. And then 6 with high pressure over France and low pressure just a little bit further north. But still settled for the north, maybe a little bit drier for the south. So they're all much of a muchness, but the devil is in the detail, of course, into how far north that ridge gets from France. It does get, it does push up a little bit further northwards, and it brings drier weather to the south, and that's what the GFS output in particular is showing today. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 3rd of November. 13 members of the ECM ensemble just keep it very unsettled with deep low pressure over country. Again, in combination with a mid-Atlantic ridge up towards Greenland, that will be cool and wet. 12 with high pressure just to our south, ridging in from France. That's going to be drier and also potentially very mild. 10 with low pressure over and to the south of the country. Hints of a little bit of northern blocking with this one, so that's quite unsettled and maybe quite cold. Could be bringing in the winds from the northeast. 6 with low pressure just to our north, high pressure over France, so that looks quite unsettled, but it's a little bit drier for the south. Another 6 with a ridge extending up western side of Europe, that's going to be mainly dry. And then 4 look like they've got a big area of high pressure right over top of the country, that's going to be mostly dry. Could be a little bit on the cold side with that, with frost and fog as the wind is coming in from off the Atlantic. So there really is a lot of scenarios at work there as getting to the beginning of November, telling us that the model probably doesn't have a great handle on where things go beyond the end of October. CFS V2 finally means a 500 millibar heights breakdown to week periods. The first week period takes us from the 19th to 25th of October. The coming week has deep low pressure over Scandinavia with high pressure pushed out into the Atlantic. We bring winds in from the northwest, so we will have a little bit of a cooler interlude, and it will turn a bit drier for a few days as well. Week 2 is going to be the 26th of October to 1st of November. Low pressure is to our north, especially centred over Scandinavia. High pressure reaching up from the southwest, brings the driest weather into the south, but the wettest weather will be in the north with the low pressure, of course. Week 3 looks very unsettled. This is the 2nd through to the 8th of November. Lots of low pressure over northern and west Europe. High pressure sinking southwards. So the first week of November looks really unsettled. And then very interesting, week 4 sees a huge change. This is the 9th through to the 15th of November. And we get high pressure setting up to our north. So we get a big blocking area of high pressure appearing somewhere around Scandinavia and in the Norwegian Sea. So it's basically a Scandinavian high, but it does stretch from Scandinavia to Iceland and Greenland. And around that, of course, we will bring in an easterly wind. So that will turn much colder, I think, there. Much colder for the 2nd week of November. Drier, of course, as well. A lot drier, but a lot colder with frost and fog. And maybe, you know, if the air is cold enough, a few wintry showers in the east on those easterly winds. So that really would be a shock to the system by the time we get through to week 4. But, of course, it is 4 weeks away, so it's unreliable. And will undoubtedly, well, not undoubtedly, but will probably look very different when we look at these again tomorrow. But yeah, a bit of a Scandi showing up there on the CFS today for week 4. Colder and drier by the middle of November, perhaps. Right, if you enjoy this video, that's it, we're done. If you enjoy this video, then please use the like button. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. You're going to be able to see future weather content. If you do that, including future live streams and winter updates and so much more, and tell your friends to subscribe as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. And any second when I start the video, then drop a comment and let us know what you think about this video and all of our videos. And we're done with today's content. So tomorrow, just tell you what's coming up tomorrow. Very exciting day. So we're going to start off, of course, 7 AM broadcast. We're going to have the USA forecast, well as a 10 to 14 day. And then tomorrow evening at 7 PM, we have got the 2nd sneak peek for Christmas 2021. So we did a little sneaky peek for Christmas a couple of weeks ago, and that video has generated over 8,000 views so far, so it went down quite well, I think. And yeah, so I'll have another little sneak peek for Christmas, I think, tomorrow. And of course, Christmas updates proper begin not on the 1st of November this year, but on the 2nd of November. But ahead of that, you know, this 2nd sneak peek, and probably one more sneak peek sometime before the end of the month as well, I would have thought, because why not? So yeah, 2nd Christmas sneak peek coming up tomorrow evening at 7 PM. That's going to be a really, really interesting watch, I'm sure. So make sure you're around the channel tomorrow evening for that. But for today's videos, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.